There comes a moment in life when your heart is shattered by someone you trusted, someone you loved. That breaking is painful beyond words. It feels like your very soul has been torn. But understand this. When he breaks your heart, it is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a greater revelation about who you really are. Your heart, though broken, holds a power far beyond what the ego can ever grasp. The ego is fragile, built on pride and illusions, but your heart beats with a rhythm of divine strength and resilience. The ego will demand you bow down. It will whisper that you are less than, broken, unworthy. But you were never made to live under the tyranny of someone else's pride. You were created for greatness, designed to rise above rejection, and destined to walk in purpose no matter the pain inflicted upon you. When the heart is broken, it is an opportunity not for revenge, but for restoration. The restoration of your dignity, your self-respect, and your divine calling. Breaking his ego does not mean you lower yourself to bitterness or hate. No, it means you break the chains of his control over your emotions and your future. You break the ego by refusing to let it define your worth or dictate your joy. His ego is a mask of insecurity. And when you refuse to react to it with weakness, when you stand tall in your truth and walk away with grace, you shatter that mask without lifting a finger in malice. Remember, the pain you feel is not punishment. It is a signal from God that your heart is being prepared for a greater purpose. In every broken piece, there is a lesson, a divine blueprint for your transformation. You do not heal by hiding or by sinking into sorrow. You heal by embracing your identity as a beloved child of destiny, by stepping into your power with humility and courage. When he breaks your heart, break his ego, not with words, but with actions. Actions that prove your strength, your dignity, and your faith. Let your life be the testimony that no brokenness can diminish the greatness within you. You are more than what he could ever take away. Your heart beats with the power to create, to love deeper, to rise higher. That is the victory that ego can never claim. The heart is often misunderstood as a place of vulnerability, a soft center, easily hurt and broken. But this is a misconception. The heart is the true seat of strength, the core of our being, where courage, resilience, and compassion dwell. Unlike the ego, which thrives on pride, pretense, and self-importance, the heart operates from a place of authenticity and genuine power. The ego is loud, demanding attention, always seeking to prove itself better or stronger than others. But its strength is shallow and temporary. It is fragile because it depends on external validation and the illusion of superiority. When challenged or wounded, the ego often crumbles, revealing insecurity beneath its facade. The heart, on the other hand, possesses a quiet, unshakable strength rooted in vulnerability. It is strong because it knows how to endure pain without losing hope. It can break and still keep beating, learn from wounds, and grow wiser through hardship. The heart's strength is demonstrated through forgiveness, empathy, and the capacity to love even when faced with betrayal or disappointment. This kind of strength does not shout or boast. It perseveres silently and powerfully, holding on to truth and purpose regardless of the circumstances. When your heart is broken, it is not a sign of weakness, but a call to awaken this deep inner strength. The heart embraces reality as it is, refusing to be hardened or closed off by hurt. Instead, it chooses healing, growth, and restoration. The ego wants to protect itself by building walls, but the heart chooses to open doors to greater understanding and deeper connection. In this way, the heart carries the divine strength to overcome trials, to rise above pain, and to become a source of hope and light. It is the heart, not the ego, that defines true power in life. Emotional pain is one of life's most profound teachers. It arrives uninvited, shaking the very foundation of your soul, leaving you feeling vulnerable, lost, and broken. But pain itself is not the enemy. It is how you respond to that pain that determines your destiny. Emotional pain can either weaken you, causing you to shrink back, to lose faith in yourself and your future, or it can become the catalyst that awakens your divine purpose. When pain touches your heart, it forces you to confront realities you might otherwise avoid. It strips away illusions and exposes the core of who you are. This exposure can be terrifying, but it is also the moment of greatest opportunity. You see, pain has a way of stirring something deep inside, a hunger for meaning, a desire for growth, a recognition that life is too precious to be wasted on despair. When you allow pain to weaken you, it becomes a prison, a place where bitterness and fear imprison your potential. But when you choose to rise from that pain, when you look beyond the hurt and ask, what is this teaching me? You begin to awaken the purpose God has planted within you. The wounds you carry can become the very wellspring of your strength, compassion, and wisdom. Divine purpose is often hidden in the cracks of our brokenness. It is in those moments of emotional pain that you discover who you truly are, not defined by your circumstances, but by your ability to overcome them. Pain refines you like fire, removing what is unnecessary and revealing the gold within. So the question is never if pain will come, it will. The question is, how will you respond? Will you allow pain to weaken you, or will you allow it to awaken your divine purpose and propel you into the destiny designed just for you? The ego often presents itself as a fortress of strength, a powerful shield that protects us from the wounds of life. It stands tall, demanding respect and attention, insisting that we are in control and superior to others. But beneath this bold exterior lies a fragile truth. Ego is nothing more than a mask designed to cover deep insecurity and fear. It is a defense mechanism that hides the vulnerabilities we dare not face. When someone's ego is challenged, it reacts with anger, pride, or denial because it fears exposure. It fears that if the truth behind the mask is revealed, that underneath there is doubt, weakness, or unworthiness, then all its carefully built walls will crumble. The ego's strength is an illusion, sustained by comparisons, achievements, and approval from others. It demands validation because it lacks confidence in its own identity. It clings to power and control because it fears losing relevance and being insignificant. But true strength does not need to boast or dominate. It stands firm in humility and self-awareness. The ego's fragility becomes evident when life's trials expose its limitations. It cannot endure failure or rejection without cracking because it was never built on a solid foundation. Fear is the root of ego's existence. Fear of rejection, fear of being inadequate, fear of not belonging. The ego shields us from these fears, but in doing so, it imprisons us in a cycle of pretending and defending. Real freedom comes when we step beyond ego's fragile shield and face our fears with courage. When we embrace our insecurities, admit our weaknesses, and acknowledge our humanity, we find a strength far greater than the ego could ever provide. That strength comes from authenticity, from a heart grounded in truth, not from an ego that hides behind illusions. True power is not found in loud declarations, forceful actions, or the need to dominate others. It is a quiet, steady force that comes from humility, self-awareness, and self-respect. Humility is the foundation of real strength because it frees you from the chains of pride and arrogance. When you are humble, you recognize your limitations and your need for growth, but you also understand your value and purpose. Humility allows you to learn from your mistakes, to listen more than you speak, and to serve others without expecting anything in return. It is this mindset that builds lasting influence and respect, far beyond the fleeting power of control or status. Self-awareness is the key that unlocks the door to true power. It requires honest reflection, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, your fears and desires, your purpose and your place in the world. Without self-awareness, power becomes reckless and destructive, driven by ego and impulse. But when you are self-aware, you navigate life with clarity and wisdom. You make decisions aligned with your values and your higher calling. You understand the impact of your actions on yourself and others, and you take responsibility for your growth. Self-awareness keeps you grounded, preventing the pitfalls of pride and arrogance that so often accompany superficial power. Self-respect ties these qualities together. It is the recognition of your own worth, a refusal to settle for less than you deserve, and the courage to stand firm in your convictions. When you have self-respect, you do not allow others to diminish you or your dreams. You protect your boundaries and honor your soul's calling. This respect for yourself generates a magnetic confidence that inspires others and commands genuine influence. True power flows from this inner place, humble, aware, and respectful, not from the ego's fleeting grasp for dominance. Breaking the ego is often misunderstood. Many believe it means striking back or seeking revenge, but that is far from the truth. To break someone's ego is not to inflict pain or humiliation, but to reclaim your own dignity and freedom. When someone's pride has hurt you, when their arrogance has crushed your spirit, the natural reaction might be to retaliate, to prove that you are not weak. But true strength does not lie in retaliation. It lies in rising above the need for vengeance and choosing a higher path. Reclaiming your dignity means refusing to be defined by how someone else treated you. It means recognizing that your worth is not diminished because of another's pride or cruelty. The ego wants to trap you in a cycle of bitterness where your identity becomes tangled with anger and the need to prove yourself. But when you break free from that cycle, you step into a place of true power. The power to control your response and maintain your integrity regardless of the offense. Breaking the ego, then, is a declaration that you will no longer allow someone else's inflated sense of self to control your emotions or your future. It is the act of standing firm in who you are, knowing your value without needing to tear down theirs. This kind of breaking is gentle yet firm. It disarms pride by refusing to engage in its games. It restores your peace and honors your soul's desire for respect and love. In reclaiming your dignity, you become unstoppable because no external force can cannon the power of a heart rooted in truth and grace. Brokenness is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a divine transformation. When you find yourself shattered, wounded, or defeated, it may feel like life is closing doors, but in reality, God is opening a new path. God uses brokenness as a tool to reshape your character, to strip away the unnecessary, and to prepare you for a destiny far greater than you imagine. Just as a potter breaks and molds clay to create something beautiful and useful, so too does God allow brokenness to refine you. It is in these moments of vulnerability and pain that your heart becomes pliable, open to God's hands, ready to be formed into the masterpiece you were created to be. Brokenness teaches humility and dependence on God, reminding you that true strength is not in your own power, but in surrender. It softens the pride that blinds and frees you from the illusions of control. As you let go of your own plans and embrace God's purpose, you begin to rise above your past mistakes, your failures, and the disappointments that once held you captive. God does not waste your pain. He uses it to elevate you into a higher level of wisdom compassion, and influence. Your brokenness becomes the foundation upon which your destiny is built, a testimony of resilience and divine grace. This reshaping is often uncomfortable and challenging, but it is necessary for growth. And it is through brokenness that you gain clarity of purpose and a deeper understanding of your calling. You discover strength you never knew you had and develop a character that can withstand the storms of life. God's plan for your destiny is not just about success or achievement, it is about transformation. And brokenness is the crucible through which that transformation is made real, preparing you to walk boldly into the future He has designed just for you. How you respond to heartbreak is one of the clearest reflections of your character and spiritual maturity. Heartbreak is inevitable in life. It touches every soul at some point. But what separates those who rise above from those who remain broken is the way they choose to walk through the pain. When your heart is shattered, you stand at a crossroads. You can allow bitterness, anger, and despair to consume you, or you can embrace healing, forgiveness, and growth. The first path is easy. It demands little courage and keeps you trapped in the past. The second path requires strength, patience, and a deep trust in something greater than yourself. Your response to heartbreak shows whether you have learned to anchor your identity in who you are at your core, rather than in the approval or rejection of others. It reveals if you understand that your worth is inherent and unchangeable, not dependent on someone else's love or validation. Spiritual maturity is demonstrated when you refuse to let pain dictate your value or your future. It is seen in the grace with which you handle disappointment when you allow yourself to feel the sorrow fully, but refuse to be defined or defeated by it. Moreover, your response shows your capacity for forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. It shows whether you can extend compassion, recognizing that everyone is flawed, including those who hurt you. This maturity allows you to risk resentment and walk forward with a heart open to new possibilities. It is a testimony to your faith that no brokenness is permanent and that God's purpose for your life remains intact. In every heartbreak, your character and spiritual growth are being forged, revealing not just who you are, but who you are becoming. When your heart has been broken, remember this: true victory is not found in tearing others down, but in rising above with dignity, humility, and unwavering faith. Break the chains of ego, both theirs and your own, and step boldly into the purpose God has designed for you. Your strength is not measured by how loudly you fight back, but by how gracefully you reclaim your identity and destiny. Let every pain be the forge that shapes your character, every heartbreak the catalyst that propels you toward your greatest destiny. In the end, the greatest power you possess is the power to choose how you respond, and in that choice lies your freedom, your peace, and your true triumph.